Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Watching Watches. Today I'll be talking about Hemel watches. They're founded by a guy called Marvin Menk. He spent plenty of time working in apparel design before moving specifically into watchmaking. I think you'll see some of the design experience coming into this watch that I'm reviewing today. Hemel takes inspiration from vintage pieces to generate some really nice modern pieces. Some of them are automatics, but the one I'm reviewing today is a mecha quartz, and I'll talk a little about this movement a little later. Marvin's a bit of a history buff, so many of his watches are based on military timepieces. The watch I'll be reviewing today, the HFT20, it's almost the same as their latest release, which I'll be doing a summary on towards the end of this episode. The logo and case back is changed in the newer release to include some references to the United States Air Force. So on to the review today. I'm still working on my setup a little bit, so forgive me if it's not quite professional. I know you can see some shadows there. I did buy this watch second hand, so I do think that the chronograph seconds hand doesn't line up perfectly, and I think it was mistreated before I bought it. So some of the extras that came with the watch. This is a small metal, just a coin piece here. Warranty card. Usually they're not filled out, just like this one. A few other promotional items. Another card just to show some of the other watches that they sell. So, onto the watch itself. This is the HFT20. So this is to show you what the packaging is like if you were to purchase it. I have been wearing it, so I just put it back in the box for the review. And there it is. Give it a quick clean. Okay, so I'll start with some specifications and then move on to the case, the dial, the band, and all that good stuff. It will be quite light, I'm expecting, because it's on a leather band. 92 grams. So the case is a bit hefty, it does add some weight, but that's still quite light. Now a few dimensions. Roughly 42mm case size. I don't know if you can see that on the screen, but it's 42. Lug to lug of around 48.5. But they are curved lugs, so it does sit comfortably on my 6 3/4 inch wrist, which is unusual for a watch of this size. Thickness of 14mm, so again, towards the larger side of things. And a non-tapering strap width of 19.9, so 20mm. Sapphire crystal check. So as always, I know this watch is sapphire, but just to show you, I'll be expecting about 3 lights for sapphire. And there we go, 4 lights, so that's a sapphire crystal there. So it is a good looking watch. I'll start with talking about the case, brush finishing, all brush sides, and it looks like part of their case back is sandblasted. So the dial itself is a matte black dial. You can see it's got the Arabic numbers for 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 10 to 12. The seconds hand for the chrono does not line up. I imagine it would if this watch was not mistreated, so I'm sure that if you were to buy a new one, it would line up well. Now this is a VK64 movement, so it's a mecha quartz, runs on a battery, but it does have some of the features of a mechanical watch, which is this smooth moving hand when you're running the chrono. It is quite interesting that The founder, Marvin, has decided not to incorporate the date or a moving seconds hands, and that's to make it more like the aviator watches from the 60s and 70s. So I've just stopped the seconds hand there at in between 20 and 25 seconds. And if you watch the flyback, this is my favorite feature of a Mecha Quartz movement. So just watch that orange hand there, and it moves back up to the 12 very, very fast. So the feeling as well on these pushes is really nice. You can see the checkered pattern there, so he's paid a lot of attention to detail. Sorry, just trying to find the focus there. And then the laser etched H on the crown. So it's not a screw-in crown, but I do still think this watch has quite a high water resistance. I haven't taken it swimming. Probably shouldn't be taking it swimming too much on this type of band, but it does feel good, especially with the chrono pushes there. I think it's a really nice looking dial. Onto the bezel, which is my favorite part of the watch. It's fully loomed ceramic bezel, which is great. And I'll just give it a quick turn. I'm not sure why it's not focusing here. There we go. Maybe it's too dark. I really like that sound. I'll just move it closer to the camera. So it's got a really good movement. There is a little bit of play, but not too much, and I can forgive it because it sounds fantastic and it feels really good as well. Also, what I forgot to mention is there is sort of beveled edges on the lugs there, so it does add a little bit of elegance to this sort of more casual tool looking watch. The case back, HF series Hemel HFT20, just a few specs there. 316L stainless steel, which is like most stainless steel watches. Sapphire crystal. It says the movement there, VK64 and 10 ATM, 10 atmosphere, so that's 100 meters water resistance. So if you change off the strap, you can take this one swimming, pretty much do anything with it except for diving. Here it is again. I'll show you a loom shot a little bit later. So onto the strap. It's handcrafted Italian leather. You can see the two rivets on the top and the bottom. Some people might not like that. I actually don't mind it. I think it adds to the character of this watch. It probably is water resistant. You can see it's been treated on the sides there. And it's actually very solid. It's starting to darken with age, which I really like. What does it say here? Genuine leather. And just the Hemel branding there. And the hardware as well is really good. It's brush finishing. You can see the Hemel wording on the top, and I think it's on the bottom as well. So overall it's a really comfortable, solid strap. One of the best leather straps I've ever owned. Actually, I really do like it. Been wearing it quite a bit, and it still looks almost new, which is fantastic. So before I hit the lights and show you the loom, I just wanted to give you a final comment on this watch. The retail price is $450 US. You can buy it direct from Hemel, and I know there's a lot of competition in that range. Plenty of micro brands are making watches around the sort of 300 to 600 US range, so right where Hemel sits. But I think Hemel really stands out in the way it's designed, the quality of the watch. The leather is fantastic. It's nice and thick, and the bezel looks really good too. It's really nice shiny ceramic. Definitely my favorite part of the watch, and I really do think it adds to it. The sound, the feel, it really is quite enjoyable to use. So I'll hit the lights, we'll do the loom, and then I'll talk a little bit about the new release, the collaboration with the United States Air Force. And here is the loom glowing as bright as day on the left. For comparison, we've got the mighty Seiko SKX, and on the right is the Hemel I've just focused that so I won't move it too close to the camera. As I mentioned before, Lume ceramic bezel insert, and it really does look a treat. We've got the hands, all the numbers and the bezel insert all glowing with Super Luminova C3 Lume. So that really is impressive. And I almost forgot, here's a quick wrist shot on my 6 3/4 inch wrist. You can see it wears very nicely, even though it's a 14mm thick watch, 42mm diameter. It actually wears very nicely because of those curved lugs, and I think it sits really well. Now, just before I go, this watch is a bit of a strap monster. It goes well with so many different straps, so I'd like to show you a few from Vario Everyday. I'll put a link in the description below. They have a great website, and I really recommend you check them out. Really good photos and a really good range as well. So this is the Cordura Coal Black Zulu with oiled leather. This is the Seatbelt Navy Edge NATO. And the final strap, probably my favourite, is the Elastic NATO Bond style. Now, just a short mention of the new release from Hemel, the HFT20 Mecha Quartz, which is the watch that's been reviewed today, has been the brand's flagship timepiece since it hit the market about 3 years ago. And it's led the way for this special collaboration with the US Air Force. So the HFT20 is a reinvention of the mid-century chronographs issued to military pilots. So the special edition Hemel, which is the collaboration with the Air Force, has a special logo on the front and a choice of 4 different case backs. And this is the first time I've heard of a watch where you can choose different case backs. So I think that's pretty cool. The first case has an advanced pilot helmet flanked by 2 lightning bolts. The second has a flying F-22 Raptor in silhouette. The third declares the Air Force's mission objectives in air, space and cyberspace within the backdrop of a constellation of stars and interconnected points which also form the silhouette of a jet. The final form is the Air Force's declaration of its ethos by assembling words that describe the characteristics, spirit and culture shared by the Air Force. Marvin's also told me that a special edition Thunderbirds caseback will be available later this year, and the Thunderbirds are of course the demonstration squadron of the US Air Force. So just to close out this video, I'll show you one more time this really good looking watch, and I'll give that bezel another term just because I like it so much. Thanks for watching everyone, I really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe, that'll help me out, and have a great day.